Brandon Roy played like an old soul in a young body. Crafty, poised, clutch. He was the Blazers' future. Rookie of the Year, three-time All-Star, and a fourth-quarter assassin. But his knees had no cartilage, bone on bone. The pain didn't just slow him, it erased him. Retired at 27. One brief, painful comeback attempt in Minnesota, then silence. In another timeline, he's a Hall of Famer. In ours, he's the ghost of what Portland almost had. Steve Francis was the franchise in name and in game. A high-flying, crossover-heavy point guard who brought swagger to Houston. Rookie of the Year, All-Star starter, and one of the league's most exciting guards. But behind the flash was volatility. Conflicts with coaches, off-court distractions, and a game that didn't evolve. Injuries crept in, explosiveness faded, and teams stopped calling. Within a few years, he went from centerpiece to forgotten. His rise was electric. His fall was silent. Spruell was a menace on the court. Fearless scorer, tenacious defender, four-time All-Star. But he choked his coach, literally. The incident in Golden State nearly ended his career, but he clawed back, even reaching the finals with the Knicks. Still, the shadows never left. His exit came when he rejected a $21 million extension, saying, "I've got a family to feed." That quote buried him. Teams passed. His game could have aged, but the league had already decided, no more chances. Allen Houston had a pure jumper and a perfect fit in New York. His clutch shots and smooth shooting made him a fan favorite and a two-time All-Star. Then came the contract, $100 million, and the injuries. His knees gave out, and his production never matched the paycheck. He became the poster child for bad max deals before the league even called them that. By the end, he was getting paid not to play. Houston didn't crash. He faded under the weight of expectation and pain. Who rises next? Who falls harder? And which name was already forgotten before this video ended? Kevin Johnson was the Suns' engine. Blazing fast, elite passer, fearless driver. He put up 20 and 10 like it was routine and held his own in playoff duels with Magic and Stockton. A three-time All-Star, a cornerstone. Then, at just 32, he was done. No slow fade, no farewell season. Injuries piled up, and he walked away quietly. The league moved on. Fans barely noticed. For a player that brilliant, the spotlight left way too soon. He didn't fall off, he just disappeared before his name was fully remembered. For a moment, the league debated, Chris Paul or Deron Williams. That's how good he was. Utah's future, All-NBA, unstoppable in the pick and roll. Then came the trade to Brooklyn, the giant contract, and something changed. The hunger vanished. Injuries didn't help, but his fire dimmed fast. He coasted through seasons, faded in the playoffs, and left the game with no real identity. CP3 chased greatness. Deron checked out. That debate aged worse than anyone expected. Before Paul George, there was Danny Granger. 25 points per game. All-Star, face of the Pacers. A lanky, deadly shooter who could defend and lead. But injuries robbed him of his burst, and just as he slowed down, a younger, flashier star emerged. Paul George took the team and the spotlight. Granger got traded, benched, and eventually waived. No drama, just a quiet exit. 1 year, you're the franchise. The next, you're watching from the end of the bench, forgotten in your own arena. Michael Finley was that guy in Dallas. Smooth stroke, silent killer, averaged over 20 a game for 5 straight seasons. But as Dirk rose, Finley got pushed to the margins. Then came the amnesty clause. Dallas cut him loose to save cap space. He landed in San Antonio, reinvented himself, won a title, but as a role player, not a star. His fall wasn't dramatic. It was cold, quiet business. He didn't decline. He just got replaced. ISO Joe earned every one of his 7 All-Star nods, a one-man bucket who carried bad teams through sheer shot creation. But the moment he signed that $124 million deal in Atlanta, the narrative shifted. Too much money, not enough rings. He never declined suddenly, just slowly became overpaid, then unnecessary. He played on 5 teams in 5 years. The nickname stayed. The respect lingered. But the contract became the punchline. Joe Johnson didn't fall. The league just stopped making room for isolation stars. They had the numbers, the talent, the story, but the game doesn't care. And neither does time. Josh Smith was built in a lab for highlights. Chase down blocks, tomahawk dunks, freak athleticism at both ends. At his peak, he looked like the prototype for the modern forward. But he never met a bad shot he didn't like. Long twos, ill-advised threes, low IQ choices at the worst moments. Coaches tried, teammates pleaded. He just wouldn't adapt. Eventually, teams gave up. The physical tools were still there, but you can't jump over bad decisions forever. From rising star to unplayable in a blink. O.J. Mayo came in with LeBron-level hype, scored 30 in his NBA debut. For a few years, he looked like a future star. Smooth jumper, solid handles, real confidence. But behind the scenes, the foundation cracked. Conditioning issues, off-court rumors. Then the final blow, a drug suspension that got him banned from the league. Just like that, he vanished. Not injured, not washed, just gone. His fall didn't happen on the court. It happened behind the curtain, where no comeback could start. Andrew Bynum was a 2-time champion before he turned 25. A true 7-footer with soft hands, footwork, and power. One of the last dominant low-post centers. But focus was never his game. He showed up late, skipped rehab, bowled during injuries, and coasted through practices. When the Lakers shipped him out, it wasn't just a trade. It was a warning. Philly never saw him suit up. Cleveland regretted it fast. The talent never disappeared. The effort did. Bynum didn't just fall. He never really stood up to begin with. Lamar Odom was the league's unicorn before the word even existed. A 6-foot 10-inch playmaker who could rebound, run point, and guard every position. 2 rings, 6th man of the year, and one of the most respected teammates in the league. But when basketball ended, so did his center of gravity. A storm of addiction, loss, and near death spiraled his life off the rails. He survived, barely. But the player who once made the triangle offense sing disappeared forever. His fall wasn't just from the league. It was from the edge of life itself. Ricky Rubio was supposed to be Europe's next magician, drafted before Steph Curry, with passing vision that made crowds gasp and a flair that felt destined for greatness. But the shot never came, and in a league that demands both flash and efficiency, he couldn't keep up. He bounced from Minnesota to Utah to Phoenix to Cleveland. Always the same story, solid, not spectacular, beloved, but replaceable. Rubio never failed dramatically. He just never evolved beyond what he arrived as, a what-if wrapped in highlights. If you think this was the end, look closer. There's always one more name you forgot. Rajon Rondo played chess while everyone else played checkers. A basketball savant with eyes in the back of his head and hands built for steals. He ran Boston's offense like a conductor. Ring in hand, legacy secured. But with the genius came volatility. Clashed with coaches. Burned bridges in Dallas, Sacramento, Chicago. His IQ stayed elite, but trust never did. Teams brought him in, then pushed him out. Rondo didn't age out of the league. He outsmarted himself right off rosters. Markelle Fultz was supposed to be automatic. The number 1 pick with a smooth jumper, elite pick and roll game, and franchise potential. Then came the yips. Shoulder injury, mental block, nobody ever figured it out. His shot collapsed. His confidence vanished. Philly moved on. The league laughed. He rebuilt in silence, slowly, in Orlando. But the star path was gone. Fultz wasn't a bust because of talent. He was a bust because no one knew what broke, or how to fix it. Isaiah Thomas was 5 feet 9 inches and unstoppable. Dropped 28 a game, led Boston to the number 1 seed, played through tragedy, injuries, pain, and still cooked defenders. But then came the hip, torn labrum, mismanaged, misunderstood, traded, and suddenly, the league forgot. No more big offers, no more green lights, just minimum deals and limited minutes. From MVP candidate to begging for a chance, all in a year. Thomas didn't fall because he lacked heart. His body simply couldn't carry it anymore. Ben Simmons was a 6-foot 10-inch point guard who defended every position, ran the break like LeBron, and made All-NBA in year 3. Then, one missed dunk in the 2021 playoffs unraveled everything. The booze, the memes, the refusal to shoot, the trade demand, and finally, the complete disappearance. Injuries, mental health, excuses, none of it brought back the player he once was. He didn't just fall off, he evaporated. From cornerstone to ghost in a league that stopped waiting for answers.